Welcome to another Threes and TDs, a show all about the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's get right to it. Today, the Panthers began the process of getting their team down to that 53. I'm going to read, I don't know that I need to read all the names, but the main ones that I think are relevant to this conversation. Jake Plummer has been cut. Before you get too excited, Jake Plummer was also cut last year, and he was able to be re-signed. He was cut, and then they signed him to a practice squad. Bryce Perkins has been cut, which means that there are two quarterbacks going into the football season: Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. That's not great. That's not great because Andy didn't look great in preseason. And for everybody that's saying, oh my God, it's just preseason, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters if you look terrible against some of the twos and the threes of the opposing team. And he looked awful. So my guess is that they think that they can bring Bryce Perkins back, that no one's going to sign him and he's going to clear waivers. But that is an area to me that I would like Dan Morgan and Brandon Tillis in the scouting department to get better, because that quarterback room, like if something happens to Bryce, Andy Dalton is quarterback too. If something happens to Dalton, then are you going to sign Bryce Perkins to be your quarterback? Are you going to make a trade for Kirk Cousins? Talk about a wild turn of events. That would be. The other big one was Jacoby Winham. So Jacoby gets cut. I thought he had a phenomenal game, that preseason game. He would be a really good special teams player. They think that he's going to clear waivers. All the other guys aren't really surprising. Kobe Hudson, Jacoby George, TJ Luther, the wide receivers. And then Matthew Wright is released, which means that Mr. Fitzgerald is our starting kicker for now, because there's other teams that are going to get cut. So I think that they're going to continue to add to that room. But yeah, those are the main ones. Obviously, this was the first wave of cuts. We now have to tomorrow to see what is going to happen. Is Hunter Renfrow going to make the team? Is Jimmy Horn going to make the team? Is David Moore going to make the team? So I think the wide receiver room is the main room that most Panthers fans are interested in. There's a lot of other interesting things, like what's going to happen in the tight end room. But to me, tomorrow's going to be the big day. So this is being recorded on Monday evening. It's going to be released Tuesday morning, so we'll have more news on that. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. The way I lean, and from the reporting that we've gotten from Joe Person, from Mike Hay, from Sheena, from all these people that have their ear to the ground, I think that what's probably going to happen is that they are probably going to keep Hunter Renfrow. And if somebody has to go, it's going to go Jimmy Horn. Now, I want them to keep Jimmy Horn. I know, the hype around Jimmy got way crazy, right? Everybody was like, Jimmy Horn this, Jimmy Horn that. If somebody had never been around NFL Twitter and they got on Twitter, you would have thought that Jimmy Horn was the second coming of Jerry Rice. And that's just not true. There's a reason why he was the 6th round pick. Dan Morgan, in the presser, when they asked him about him, he said, we want speed. We want to be able to, have speed. He has speed. He's just not a developed route runner. To me, what was telling about the preseason with Jimmy was that they weren't even wanting him to field punts in the preseason game, going into the second half of some of these games against 2s and 3s, and not once. So, I don't know. There might be something that we're missing in practice with Jimmy, but he just hasn't looked great. And I think that they value Hunter Renfrow and what he can do more than Jimmy. So I don't know. Everybody's talking about like we can't do what we did last year, because remember last year, if you remember, Jalen Coker gets released, and then like Jalen Coker gets released and is able to get picked up again. Goodness, if somebody would have picked him up, I mean, Jalen Coker might be our wide receiver too. And some fans will be like, oh, don't disrespect Xavier. I'm not disrespecting Xavier. I love Xavier Legette. But from a production standpoint, I mean, Jalen is phenomenal. So a lot of fans are saying we don't want to do the same thing with Jimmy. I think Jalen Coker and Jimmy Horn, if you compare their preseasons, if you compare the kinds of players they are, they're a little different. Like, I think Jalen's a step above. I think Jalen's a step above Jimmy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But my guess is that Dave Canales, with his connection with David Moore, wants to keep David Moore over Jimmy. I know fans are going to like that. I would personally prefer Jimmy Horn. But I'm also like a random person on YouTube that's making content about the Panthers because I'm a lifelong fan. So there's a reason why I'm not a coach. But if I was, I would want to keep Jimmy. So I think those are the big news items. Nothing really new on the Adam Thielen stuff. They're going back and forth on day 3 compensation. I've made myself clear. I don't want a 5th or a 6th rounder for Adam. Like, that to me doesn't interest me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll have more info tomorrow. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you in the next one.